And so I think he's kind of woken up to the fact that actually there is a better way of doing things. And you know, I'm not sure that George was considered to be a socialist in the 19th century. He effectively launched the progressive movement. So he was anti-monopoly. He was anti kind of people taking out of the economy stuff that they hadn't earned, and so on. I'm not sure that. I mean, socialism is really more you collectively own the means of production. It's actually possibly the most misused word in the United States. I follow US politics quite closely, and the number of times that people misuse the word socialist is quite incredible. He's right to point out that actually the other side of George's solution is basically freeing the market to do what it does. So you create a more free system. You don't need so much government intervention because the market sort of corrects itself. You cut in, incidentally, just on that, you cannot be libertarian without a Henry George solution. It's simply impossible. This idea of absolute ownership of property, regardless of whether you deserve to own it or whether, you know, how you've come by it, et cetera, how you accrue the benefits, it's absolute recipe for disaster, and it never survives a crisis. So I think, I mean, it's to his credit that he's sort of woken up to that fact. I think there's one problem, though, that he has, and that is that we're not just talking about land. We're also talking about digital lands. I mean, the entire internet is I mean, you know, you can argue to what extent Google has contributed to that, but ultimately it's based on public investment in all the infrastructure, all the population being online, and government facilitating that with skills, with and so on and so forth. It's a vast collective enterprise. All the content that, you know, ChatGPT is scraping to develop its models and so on. It's a vast collective enterprise, and that is becoming increasingly privatized by a relatively small number of companies like Google and Apple and so on. And so Henry George's theories in the 21st century would apply to that as well, which is one of the reasons why, you know, the Mag 7 or the, you know, the FANGs or whatever you want to call them are so valuable. It's not because they produce, I mean, they obviously produce wonderful products, but the value of their stock market capitalization is now increasingly down to their ownership or enclosure of what is ultimately common, you know, the digital commons.